What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to be taking a look at another lovely Transformers trading card game, Wave 4 character. And it's another one that has been shown to us by the lovely folks over at ScreenRant.com. Good website, check them out. I've enjoyed many an article over there. And you know my rule, right? If people are nice enough to show us Transformers spoilers, if Wizards think that they should be showing them to us, let's give them a bit of love, shall we? Also, no spoilers, but they've got an article on Venom Hulk. Just leaving that out there. Today it is the turn of Sergeant Mirage, a character, and we've seen Mirage a bunch of times. We had Mirage back in Wave 1. Incidentally, still my favourite of the Mirage. I think Mirage from Wave 1 is just a phenomenal character. Extra actions, etc. I am all in on Mirage. But then we did have Mirage in Wave 2 as a combiner. Did take Wave 3 off. It's time for Mirage to come back. And it's still a racing car. Now, what we have is a 7-cost character, which is on the cheaper side. And with honestly pretty good stats for a 7 cost. 13 health is good. Attack of 3 or 4 is alright or pretty good. Defense of 1 is admittedly quite low, but we can work around it. As a side note, if you want to play all 3 Mirage in one deck, they will add up to 23 stars. You'll have a couple of star cards left over. So if you want to play treble Mirage, I'm just saying that you can. I'm saying it's an option. So what does Mirage do? What are the skills like? I like the skills. Starting off in alt mode, when you flip to this mode, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a blue pip card, you draw 2 cards. Otherwise, draw a card. So you're not really getting any extra information here per se, because regardless of what the top card is, you draw it. Now, it is worth noting that you do have to reveal it, so your opponent will know one card you draw. If you draw a second, that will at least be a little bit secret. Hopefully entirely secret. But it's nice draw, and what I really like about this, it is draw from flipping into the mode. There's no mucking about here. So if we look at something like Bumblebee Trusted Lieutenant, you do get to draw 2, but the issue here is that it's only when you attack, when you scrap an action from your hand. That's a little bit awkward. We've got Dinobot Snarl from back in Wave 1 that does get to draw 3 cards when you flip to this mode and you have no cards in hand. And bearing in mind, right, drawing 2 is good. Our standard go-to draw card is Pep Talk. And Pep Talk draws you 2 cards. Now, sure, we've got Universal Network Access that draws 3, but that's a star card. And we've got Equipment Enthusiast, but Equipment Enthusiast depends on how many upgrades you've got on the board, which is not often going to be 2 or 3. Sometimes it will, but it depends on how many turns you've had and how many characters you've got out, etc. And the other thing to bear in mind, of course, there is nothing to stop you using Equipment Enthusiast along with this. Now, of course, we did see some of these counter cards the other day, and we actually do have a nice counter to this particular strategy. Hijack. Hijack is a secret action, and if your opponent would draw a second card during their turn, then if your opponent would draw a card this turn, you draw instead, i.e., your opponent draws when you would draw. So if you reveal a blue card, your opponent draws 2 cards, which is somewhat annoying. But unless your opponent's playing Hijack, this is just nice draw. And it's nice draw on a 7 cost. I mean, Cliffjumper, and look, I ain't saying this is a new Cliffjumper, right? We all know Cliffjumper is out and out phenomenal, but by the same token, we all also know that Cliffjumper is incredibly expensive. Okay, glad we got that out there. Cliffjumper, when you flip one of your other cards to bot mode, you draw a card. Well, you've got to flip 2 cards just to get the benefit you get from Mirage. Now, the good news is, kind of, that using Start Your Engines won't actually draw all the cards for Cliffjumper, because Start Your Engines flips you from bot to car. Cliffjumper, you only get it when you flip a car to bot. So, I'm not saying it's as good draw as Cliffjumper, but I'm saying it can be. I'm saying you can be drawing 2 cards fairly regularly, and that's pretty gosh darn nice. And one of the cool things about Mirage, it will activate when you flip into alt mode. I really like Sergeant Mirage as a 7 cost with this ability and pretty decent stats. Now, if we're in bot mode, while you have a face down or face up secret action, this has tough too. I.e., if you play a secret action, on your opponent's next turn, you'll have tough 2. That is to say, you flip 2 more cards while defending. That's pretty good. I mean, if you can flip a white icon, there's 6 cards while defending. Clearly, Mirage is putting itself into a blue deck, because you need a blue card revealed to get the most of its alt mode skill, and you get tough 2 in bot mode, which is a defensive skill. Now, a lot of the card decks we've seen be really good have been aggressive orange card decks, and obviously that's not necessarily what we're going for here. This is more of a defensive blue deck. Then again, there's nothing to stop you playing cards like Rollout, for instance, which, to be honest, you probably should be regardless. You get more flipping. And then that's got both an orange and a blue, but it is going to get a little bit awkward. This really does lend itself to more of a defensive deck. And if you really want to make the most of it, you do need to be playing secret actions. Now, I think the stats are pretty good for a 7 cost, and I love the alt mode skill, so you could play it without secret actions, but you aren't getting the most of Mirage. The good news is, we've got some really, really nice defensive secret actions. Now, one of the ones that was revealed by Wreck and Rule there just a couple of days ago, and it really is a phenomenal card, and it's a star card, but hopefully you can find, space for one of them. It is the rather lovely Heroic Resolve. Now, Heroic Resolve, double blue card, helps you in a defensive mode. And if one of your Autobots would take enough damage to be KO'd, you take enough attack damage to be at 1 health remaining, and then this card goes in your KO area. Well, that would work beautifully with this. Or how about another secret action we haven't had chance to talk about from Wave 4 yet? Hidden Fortification. When one of your characters defends, you get tough 3 until end of battle. Now, bearing in mind you've got a blue icon there as well, so that's going to work quite nicely. All of a sudden, Mirage is sitting there with tough 5. And it's also worth pointing out at this stage that Mirage is a ranged character, which means you've got those cheeky damage blue icon cards, Marksmanship and Armed Hovercraft. They're really good in more defensive decks, so you're still getting a bit of damage on the board, you're getting cheeky damage rolling here, while also making sure that you've got the blue icons and going a bit defensive. I do like Mirage a lot more as a defensive character, which is a bit awkward given that cars have generally been played a bit more aggressively for the untapping. And it's worth pointing out here, of course, that Mirage is a car, so you've got all those untapping things. You've got turbo boosters, you've got start your engines, both of which can untap one of your cars. But here you've got draw power, and there's nothing to stop you playing this with Cliffjumper to get really good draw power, or playing it with Wave 1 Mirage or Wave 2 Bumblebee to get yourself extra actions. I mean, imagine playing a Start Your Engines, then you get to draw 2 cards with Mirage, while then playing an extra action with Bumblebee or an extra action with Mirage. As a side note, you cannot play Bumblebee and both the Mirage, because unfortunately that would leave you with 26 stars, which is frankly a little bit naughty. But if you want a defensive cars deck, I think this has to be a really serious consideration. I do think you're doing it a disservice if you're trying to play it in an aggro orange deck, and honestly I think there are other cars that can do better. But if you're looking for a car for a blue deck, good stats, 7 stars, range so you get the blue cheeky damage, while also being a car, having draw power and having built-in tough, I think this is a really, really good card. I'm going to be honest with you, with my list of decks to make and test from Wave 4, defensive cars wasn't on it. But especially when you consider that we've seen things like Private Greenlight, who comes along with Safeguard Free, and the new Hot Rod, which comes along with Safeguard Free, guarantees you cannot take more than 3 damage from an attack. Maybe it's time to start getting a bit serious about defensive cars. Either way, I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited about Mirage. And I think, plus who doesn't want to play as a race car? But I'd like to know how you feel. So let me know in the comments section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk about Transformers and other games. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get bonus podcasts, etc. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.